Way people are joining now. Got people coming along to our chat today. As I was saying to Brandon before we started, this is the first time I've done one of these kind of atomic coaching sessions with people. So I'm excited to see how this goes. I'd asked a question in my paid chat a couple of days ago. If anyone has any questions they'd like to sort of throw my way to chat about, and Brandon very kindly volunteered. A really good question as well. So Brandon, first of all, tell us who you are and what your Substack publication is all about.
So I'm Brandon Elrich, and I have three different publications actually. So
Right.
my main one is called Brandon Elrich is So Gay, and I've actually been thinking about a rebrand lately. I've
Mhm.
been on Substack for about a year and a half now, and I'm thinking about changing the name of my publication
Mm.
just to try to, I don't know, try to bolster my subscribers and kind of, I don't
Yeah.
know, reinvigorate it.
Okay.
But my second publication is Elrich Unraveling for fiction and poetry,
Nice.
and so I've been doing a lot of short stories, flash fiction, and poetry on that. And
Mhm.
that one is kind of what I'm asking about as far as the question I posed in the chat. But on
Mhm.
my main publication, it's mostly humor, satire, and some things about the LGBTQ plus community. So
Yeah. Brilliant. Where do you post your baking videos? Is that part of that publication?
yeah, I have a
Okay.
separate podcast for that. And I have a section, I made a few sections in my
Mm.
publication, and under my main publication, there's Brandon Elrich, the gay chef, I think is what it's called in there. But
Nice.
that's where all my baking videos are, and they go on YouTube and for as a separate podcast.
Mm. Brilliant. Awesome. Brilliant. So anyone who's interested in baking, check out Brandon's publication on his YouTube channel as well, and see what he's got for you. Okay, Brandon. So let's hear your question that you posted into the chat.
Okay, so oh, I thought I had it up here. Well, basically, I asked, should you self-publish a fictional book, or put it on Substack behind a paywall
Mm.
for paid subscribers, like chapter by chapter, or
Mhm.
maybe both?
Yeah.
And why would you choose whatever you did? You know what I mean?
Brilliant.
I think that was the gist of it.
That was it, yeah. And I think other people, off the back of that said that it was a really good question. They wanted to know the answer to it as well, so that was
Yeah.
good. First of all, Brandon, tell me kind of where that question came from. So what's your kind of process like right now with fiction?
I have self-published a book on Amazon several years ago,
Mm,
and I don't know if you're how familiar you are with self-publishing on Amazon, but it takes a lot of marketing
yeah,
yourself, and I am terrible at that.
same here.
Don't like to do it, and but that's kind of what you have to do. And I was doing it for a while, and I sold a few copies. That as soon as I stopped actively marketing it,
Yeah,
that was it. You know,
yeah.
and of course, you can buy um, you can buy
Paid ads.
promotions, yeah,
Yeah.
ads and promotions from Amazon, but you're just pouring more money into it, and I don't know if it's going to work. And so I
Mm,
was just like, all right, I'm just going to forget that and go in a different direction.
yeah.
But so I've been on my fiction and poetry publication. I've been publishing short stories, flash fiction, and poetry. So I thought about taking that self-published book and putting it on Substack,
Yeah.
maybe chapter by chapter every
Mm,
week, and putting at least parts of it behind a paywall.
mm.
And
Okay,
so that's kind of where I'm.
that's where you're at. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of probably in a similar place in many respects. I've kind of tried both things myself as well. And by the way, if anyone has any questions about anything that Brandon or I say, just pop it into the comments as we go through this. Louise has already said, same problem, marketing is the key. I've also some nice books on Amazon that nobody finds. Yes, a lot of writers have this same kind of issue, I think. So I have self-published a couple of books. I have um, published a story chapter by chapter on the Substack in one of my publications as well. And I think that Substack presents an amazing opportunity to kind of combine both of those things together in one overall kind of marketing ecosystem. Um, One thing that I think is a fantastic approach, which anyone can try, is to build out a kind of universe around your book or your series if you've got a book series, and flesh it out beyond the actual book itself. So, one thing I'm going to be trying, for instance, around my young adult fantasy books is sharing a lot of short form fiction onto Substack that hooks directly into the main overall series stories. So I've created like a fourth publication now on my Substack, which is entirely focused on fictional the fictional history of the world I've created for my fantasy series, and I'm going to kind of drop things into there as and when I want to, and try and flesh that out as much as I possibly can. Um, just to kind of use your my online audience, and you can do this as well. Anyone who's watching, I'm Brandon too. Use your online audience to kind of drive people towards your existing books. So instead of just
Okay.
saying, I think for me and for you, instead of just saying, "Here's my book, here's where you can buy it, please buy it," create kind of a need for people to buy it by telling other stories that connect to it, and then basically point them towards it. So the next natural step after reading maybe a short story or a little bit of flash fiction or something, is to read the actual book and see where that connects into everything else. I think my answer would be in the short term, do both things together simultaneously, working in tandem instead of trying to do one or the other. So I think for you, for your book, instead of taking it off Amazon and trying to put it on a Substack, if that maybe what you were going to do, instead write other pieces around that and then link to the book itself and point people towards that, which can potentially work. How do you feel about that kind of thing? Does that feel like it's too much, or is that something that's doable?
No, I really didn't think about writing stories that connect to the book. I was just thinking about taking, I mean, I probably would leave the book on Amazon just in case anybody wanted to buy it. But I thought about just taking it chapter by chapter and also putting it on Substack and
Mm,
putting it behind a paywall or whatever. But
mm,
yeah, I didn't really think about creating stories that connected to the existing book and
mm,
kind of pointing toward it. So yeah, that's a good idea. I know I haven't I haven't looked at that
mm. Something to try anyway.
possibility.
Yeah. And I mean, the thing is as well, what Substack gives us the opportunity to do is tell stories in different ways. So you can use text to actually just write parts of the story that connect to it. You can just speak directly into the camera and tell it directly to your audience in that way.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, you could use your YouTube channel, take people through a faceless retelling of parts of the story, kind of show them images and graphics and things like that that kind of explain things and flesh it out. I know that for me, I'm a huge nerd when it comes to like fantasy or sci-fi, that sort of thing. So I love all the extra stuff around stories. I love trying to find out, what's this character's backstory, what's the origin of this creature, what's the history of this city or whatever it is. And that for me really builds out a bigger kind of understanding of what the writer's trying to say as well, beyond just the main characters. Um, Sue really quickly has asked in the chat there, how do you think something like that would work for nonfiction? Um, I think Sue, yeah, I think you can supplement a nonfiction. I said the word supplement a nonfiction book as well by adding in extra things onto Substack that then point people towards it. I think we as authors have a real tendency to just try to hammer home the book that already exists. Buy this, buy this, buy this. Instead, again, create that incentivization for people to want to read the book because of something else that you've shared. And tell me more about your book that's already on Amazon. So is it fantasy? Is it sci-fi? What is it?
So it's realistic fiction, I guess I would call it. It's a drama. It's actually in two parts. I first wrote I wrote a story. It was kind of a short one, and I felt like a lot of people don't want to read just short stories,
Mm,
and so I wrote another one that was in the same world, a separate, like about a separate family, but kind of the same theme.
mhm.
And I put them together in one book. So it's like part one and book two. They're
Okay.
separate stories, but they have the same theme, so they kind of connect.
Nice.
But yeah, it's kind of about um, teenage depression and some uh, thoughts
Mm,
of self harm and that kind of thing.
mm.
So it's yeah, real fun stuff. But
But important stuff. Yeah.
yeah, right, right.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Um,
that's basically it's a I would call it a novella actually. It's even
mm,
with both of them together, it's still a short story, a short
yeah.
book.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if, again, if you went back through that story again and see if you can pick out a thread, maybe that already exists, maybe that isn't as fleshed out as you'd like it to be, and kind of pull on it a little bit and kind of see, can you turn this into another, just a shorter piece and then share that onto Substack, even in like a mini series. So, like, could you split into like 3 or 4 or 5 posts and link them all together? You can make them paid if you want to. You can make maybe one of them paid, but really, if you're trying to promote the book directly. Um, if you did a few of those little kind of like streams that lead into the river of your overall story on your book and kind of feed people in there, maybe start off with a more um catchy kind of the kind of headline that would hook someone into the actual theme. So, some of the things you already talked about. Can you write
Yeah,
up maybe a piece that's about that, and then that leads into the fictional story that then leads into the main story as well. You're trying to kind of drive your readers towards an overall understanding of what the theme is all about, and then here's a story that's going to explore that in a deeper way. Even like introducing a character in advance, so telling a little bit of their backstory, and then they enter then into the main book, and suddenly the audience is already with them, they're already part of it, they understand them on a deeper level, and it gives a whole new meaning to parts of the book then as well. I'm saying all this as someone who's planning to do all this, hasn't actually done it yet. There are all these bright ideas and kind of throwing around here, but we'll see how that goes. Um, but yeah, and let's check out a couple of questions really quick as well, in case there's something else here that we've missed. So Samantha says, what if you're willing, or sorry, what if you're writing historical fiction? Could you utilize that same strategy, but instead of building the fictional world, you're sharing nonfiction articles or essays about that time period, or even
mhm.
posts about the region the story's set in? What do you think about that, Brandon? Does that sound good?
Yeah. I was thinking, well, kind of along with Sue's question. Also, even if it's nonfiction, you could be writing something about the same topic that relates to your book. It's not the same thing, but it relates to it. So I would
Mm,
think that that's kind of along those same lines.
nice, brilliant. Yeah, I agree. I think definitely. Um, if it's historical fiction, that would be really interesting if you fleshed that out, Samantha, with actual accounts of things that happened around the same time. Again, really delving into characters, I think, in that same time period, telling their histories. Especially, like, I love real life historical accounts that are really weird and interesting and things you wouldn't really expect. If you can find a weird story about a real person in history and then tell that, that's something that's going to kind of hook me in, I think. Um, Louisa had also said, I write nonfiction with a personal angle. Test readers help me balance clarity, accuracy, and accessibility. Brilliant. Louisa, tell us more about that. What do you mean by test readers? And then Brandon, I guess for you, um, what's your process like whenever you are writing fiction? Do you kind of show people what you're writing in advance as it's happening, or do you kind of wait till it's completely finished and then show it to somebody else to read?
For the most part, I've completed it before I've shown anybody really.
Mm.
When I was in college, I was an English major for a while, literature, and I had a professor who had published a book, and I had written one right after high school or whatever. So I asked if she would read it. So I gave it to her to read, and she said, "You need to find somebody. You need to publish this."
Oh, really?
So
Yeah.
I started sending it out to people. Of course, you get rejection letters, and I've
Trust
heard
me, I
I
know all
don't know
about
what.
that.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I heard a quote that until you can line your office walls with rejection letters, you're not ready to be published. Something like that. I don't know who said it, but
It's a good one. Yeah,
yeah, unless you're already a celebrity, it's going to take a lot
yeah,
to try to get
yeah.
into the traditional publishing. And so,
Mhm.
yeah, that's why I reverted to Amazon for self-publishing. It's like
Yeah,
I'm just tired of waiting for all the answers to come back, and
Yeah.
It's just,
But that's the thing now. I mean, self-publishing, it used to be kind of like a fallback a lot of the time, but I think now it's a really legitimate route for people who want to get their stories out there into the world. I think the traditional publishing route is great, but it is very, very difficult to break through. As you said, unless you're a celebrity
yeah,
and you have like a massive audience, even if you have a massive audience coming behind you, that's still no guarantee that a book's going to do well. I think it's far more effective if you can build a small, really loyal audience who really like you and really like what you're writing about, especially using something like Substack, you stand a far better chance of getting a really sustained readership, I think, for your stories.
yeah.
But yeah.
That's kind of what I did. I started a blog on WordPress
Mm,
several years ago, like in 2020, because I thought I've got this book. I want to build up an audience before I publish it,
mm,
and it didn't work exactly the way I thought it would or hoped it would.
mm,
I still enjoyed blogging and everything. I did short pieces and poetry and everything, and then I went to Medium and started writing on there for a while, and uh,
yeah.
but then I got boosted several times on Medium, but then that kind of, I think you're familiar with.
Yeah, it kinda changed, didn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah, it changed. They didn't like anything anymore. It didn't want to boost anything. So I was like, well, gotta go a different direction. So that's when I came to Substack
Perfect.
and started writing on here. But
Yeah. So you
yeah,
were kind of already doing. Go ahead.
we actually have a mutual friend, Peter William Murphy.
Oh, okay, yeah,
He
yeah.
we were on Medium, and I'm in a writers group with him. I've known him for just, I don't know, just a couple of few years, but
Mm, yeah, Pete's great.
yeah.
He might. I think I saw he liked this post earlier whenever I said I was going to be speaking to you. So he
Oh
obviously
yeah.
he might tune in at some point. But yeah, like I mean, you're already doing that. You were sharing your stuff onto WordPress. You're kind of already building
Yeah.
that connection with your audience in advance. And Substack makes that so easy now. I think it's so easy to really just get a loyal audience around what you write. And I think that's why it's really good to be transparent about your writing as well. Like, write about when it's difficult, write about whenever it's just not working or you're struggling with the chapter or you're not really sure what direction to take. Because as you saw whenever you posted that question into the chat, a lot of people had the same kind of question, the same kind of
Yeah.
issue. So it's a great way to just connect with other writers and potential readers as well. Um, I hope this maybe answers your question on some level. Maybe it didn't answer it at all, but uh,
Oh
it
no,
w-
it definitely gave me a different idea of like connecting a different story, like going a different direction. And
yeah,
I kind of have an idea now of something I hadn't thought of before,
mm,
creating kind of a different character. Like, so the book that it's on Amazon, it's about these two different families and
mhm,
taken from the perspective of different members of the family.
okay,
So it goes, it gives you the same scene, but from a different perspective.
mm,
I don't know if that
nice.
makes
It
sense
does,
or
yeah,
not,
makes
but
sense.
anyway, the first book is about a mother and a daughter, goes back and forth between their perspectives, and
Mm,
then the second book is the mother, the son, and the daughter, and it
okay,
goes back and forth between their perspectives. So I thought, well, I could create another family kind of a story and be like, okay, this is kind of what I'm doing in this book. If you like this, there's
yeah,
the book to if you'd like to buy that, or maybe
yeah,
create a shorter version
yeah.
uh with different characters. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I think, if you had a shorter version from another perspective, even as one other character who was kinda seeing some of the events from the book and
Oh right, yeah, yeah,
do you know what I mean? And it maybe
yeah,
it wouldn't really make a lot of sense entirely because maybe they're like, single, contained events, but if you read the
right,
book, it would pull it all together.
right,
So that could
right,
be a way to kind of connect it as well. So you could, for instance, and I'm just kind of spitballing ideas, you could do a little series on Substack where you tell these little individual episodic stories, from another character's point of view, as they're looking into your main story, and then in each one linked to your book then as well. So as people read these stories, it will sort of become more evident there's something more happening beyond them that maybe they're interested
yeah,
in. And then if they go back and then read the actual book, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, that's where that fitted in there, and that makes a lot of sense." And you can sort of flesh that
yeah,
out into a bigger world in that way. But that's really cool. I love
yeah,
the idea from different point of views within the book itself. It's cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was a good idea, but
It is.
it's It's like the marketing part of it and trying to put it out there. It just takes so much work, and I don't
Mm,
know,
yeah,
and money. You got to pour in, if you're buying ads and promotions and stuff. Oh my gosh!
yeah,
But so Substack is really helpful for that, I guess.
for sure. Yeah, I mean, I experimented with paid ads on Amazon, and it really was just like flushing money down the toilet a lot of the time. It didn't really do an awful lot for
Oh,
me.
yeah. Is
Yeah,
that? Did you do it with the bidding part of it?
yeah,
There,
yeah,
I didn't. I couldn't get that. I was like,
yeah,
I don't know. It didn't make a lot of sense to me, and it didn't seem to work. So
yeah.
I don't know.
I've heard people say that it's good for like discoverability because it'll get your book in front of people. So if you're willing to kind of sacrifice a bit of time and money and just kind of set it
Yeah.
aside for that, it can be helpful. But in terms of book sales, it got me a handful of sales, and that was it. I really wasn't. I didn't think it was worth it. I've actually had a lot more success with getting interest in my book through just talking about it on Substack or getting other people to talk about it on things like TikTok as well. So giving away free copies to people, letting them make content around the book. Maybe write their own reviews, share their own videos about it, and then I just reshare their stuff. People have definitely come to me and said, "I saw such and such talking about your book on TikTok, and then I bought it because of that." So
Oh
that's
yeah.
it's helpful. If you don't have a lot of time to create content yourself, just get somebody else to do it for you, and they get a free book out of it. But yeah, different things you can
Yeah.
try. Yeah, Brandon, what is your book called? Tell us what it's called, and where people can get it. Is it just on
Oh, okay.
Amazon or is it anywhere else?
That one is just on Amazon. It's called Like a Mousetrap.
Mm-hmm.
I've got it
There it
right
is.
here, actually.
Nice, lovely cover.
So this is the one I was talking about, the self-published one.
Mm, brilliant. So people can get that on Amazon. I'll get you to send me the link to it after this, and then whenever I reshare the recording, I'll link to that as well, so people can check that out directly. One more time, tell us what your main Substack publication is called, so people can check it out as well.
Well, right now it's called it's called Brandon Elridge is so gay.
Mm,
That might change. I've been
yeah, James.
thinking about changing the name of it. Not so much the content, but I just thought maybe a rebrand of the name
Mm,
might,
yeah.
I don't know, might reinvigorate it or something. So,
Okay.
but
What are
Brandon
you
Elridge, it's yeah. If you search my name, you're gonna find me.
to find you? Yeah. In terms of the rebrand, just really quick, what are you kind of thinking for it? So, are you going to kind of go down a particular kind of content route, like a theme, or is it just kind of a general name for it?
So I put out a survey. We can do the surveys now in notes. So I
Mm.
put out a little survey and listed a few names and had people vote on them. One of them was humor me for a sec,
Oh,
and because a lot about humor. But after looking up, I was like, there are like three different publications with the phrase humor me in it.
mm,
But the second most popular one was humor and hummus.
okay.
So I figured since I do the baking videos and I write
Very
humor and
good.
hummus,
Yeah, that's good too.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm,
So that's kind of the direction I'm thinking about going.
okay. Yeah. Keep testing it. Keep just constantly asking your audience what they think, and people are saying in the chat that they like some of those ideas as well, which is great. Um, again, anyone really quick before we finish, if you have any questions for Brandon or myself, just before we finish, I forgot to keep saying that during the course of the chat because it was so interesting. But just pop them into the comments before we go, and we'll try to answer them if we can. Um, Going back to the comment there, Edgar said, "I don't know much about traditional publishing, but doesn't it come with financial risk, e.g., paying for marketing, etc.?" Yeah, traditional publishing can come with a lot of risk. If you're talking about hybrid publishing as well, where you kind of can pay up front and then somebody else can handle it all for you, you can do that as well, which is another option that has a lot more financial risk. If you can get published with a big company, big publishing house, the risk is more your time and I think your mental health a lot of the time as well because you're having to query and it's a lot of rejection. That's quite
Yeah.
difficult. Yeah, you've experienced it as well, Brandon. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh gosh. And when you're looking at different publishing companies, you've got to tailor your query letter and what you send them. Everybody wants something different. Some of them want just the query letter. Some of them want the first chapter. Some want the first 3 chapters. Some want the whole thing, and it's everything. Everybody wants something different, and you've got to make sure you follow those guidelines, or you send it out, it's immediately going to be rejected if you don't follow their guidelines. And
Yeah.
so that process is just a whole mess in
Takes
itself.
so long, doesn't it?
Yeah. And
Mhm.
most of them, they reject you. They're not going to tell you why. And they're just going to say it's not right for our
Form
list at this time.
rejection.
Or,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But, and that doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad,
Yeah. It
because
doesn't. It
a
usually
lot of
doesn't at all. Yeah.
some publishing companies are looking for a specific type of book that season or whatever.
Yeah.
There might, maybe vampires are popular that year, and they're looking more for that or whatever, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
whole, yeah, it's stressful.
It is stressful, yeah. What I would say for any author who's publishing either traditionally or indie publishing, whatever it is you want to do, the marketing will kind of always come down to you anyway. So regardless of whether or not you're with a big publishing company, or you're an indie publisher or whatever it is, or you're self published, you're still gonna have to market your own book. A big publishing house will help you a bit at the start, but then eventually will just kind of let you have to handle everything after that once they've kind of initially pushed it. That's why for me, I do think that self-publishing is such a powerful route when combined with Substack or things like YouTube, as Brandon has said as well. You really can flesh out a really powerful ecosystem that kind of works in like a flywheel kind of situation. But Brandon, I really appreciate this chat today. As I said, this was the first one of these little kind of atomic coaching session kind of things. It was just a fun conversation, to be honest. I really enjoyed it. And
Yeah.
everyone who's watching, please go and subscribe to Brandon's publication. I think you can click the button up at the top of the screen. Or if you're watching this later, just click through from his name on the post and make sure you check out his book as well, which I will also link to there. And yeah, Brandon, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. I've enjoyed this conversation. I've watched a lot of your videos, so I'm glad to be part of one.
Appreciate it. Yeah, you're always a name that pops up into the chat all the time when I'm doing live. So it's cool to meet you face to face properly. But yes, thank you so much, Brandon. Thanks for everyone who joined us here today, and have a great day. I'll see you soon.
All right, bye.
Bye bye.